Books teach us, inform us, amuse us, and provoke us, but some books plainly befuddle us. They invoke mysteries that hint of something ancient, extraterrestrial, or possibly divine, from unsolvable codes to 13th century doodles in the margins of Bibles. History is like an all-encompassing high school cliché that never comes to an end. These books span the course of written history, and they're all utterly bizarre. So, keep watching to see the most mysterious book list of the world. Stay tuned. If this is your first time visiting our channel, please don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today we'll be showing you the top 10 most mysterious books of the world. Number 1. Voynich Manuscript. The Voynich Manuscript is an illustrated codex handwritten in an unknown writing system. The vellum on which it is written has been carbon dated to the early 15th century, 1404 to 1438, and it may have been composed in northern Italy during the Italian Renaissance. The manuscript is named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer who purchased it in 1912. Some of the pages are missing, with around 240 remaining. The text is written from left to right, and most of the pages have illustrations or diagrams. Some pages are foldable sheets. The ink drawings of plants featured inside it are of completely unknown origins. What's also unusual is the undecipherable text accompanying the plants and many astronomical and astrological charts, as well as numerous female nudes which allude to some kind of reproductive process, judging by their swollen berries and interaction with interconnected tubes and capsules. The book also contains over 100 drawings of possibly medicinal variety of herbs and roots in various jars. No one has yet succeeded in deciphering the text. In 1969, Voynich manuscript was donated by Hans P. Klaus to Yale University's Belknap Rare Book and Manuscript Library, where it is catalogued under the number MS408. Number 2. Codex Seraphinus. Codex Seraphinus, originally published in 1981, is an illustrated encyclopedia of an imaginary world, created by the Italian artist, architect, and industrial designer Luigi Serafini during 30 months from 1976 to 1978. The book is approximately 360 pages long and written in a cipher alphabet in an imaginary language. The origins of the Codex Seraphinus are not too mysterious, while its contents are. All the pictures and charts look very mysterious, and they look to depict something, but nobody knows what. In a talk at Oxford University in 2009, Serafini claimed there was no real meaning in the text of the book. The book is an encyclopedia in manuscript with copious hand-drawn, coloured pencil illustrations of bizarre and fantastical flora, fauna, anatomies, fashions and foods. It has been compared to the still undeciphered Voynich manuscript. The illustrations are often bizarre parodies of things in the real world: bleeding fruit, a plant that grows into roughly the shape of a chair and is subsequently made into one, a love-making couple that metamorphose into an alligator, etc. Others depict apparently senseless machines, often with a delicate purpose. There are also illustrations readily recognizable as maps on human faces. On the other hand, especially in the physics chapter, many images look almost completely abstract. Practically all figures are brightly coloured and rich in detail. Number 3. The Smithfield Decretals. Officially known as the Decretals of Gregory IX, this is a collection of canonical law ordered in the 13th century by Pope Gregory IX. Such collections were fairly common at the time, but what's bizarre about these Decretals is the illustrations that went along with them. The Smithfield Decretals were created as an illuminated manuscript, which was a style that combined illustrations and flowery calligraphy with the lettering. It was a painstaking and expensive process because each drawing had to be done by hand. Again, nothing unusual about that. Plenty of early religious texts did it, but when you dig through the copious illustrations in the Smithfield Decretals, you start finding some very weird things. Scattered throughout the pages are violent scenes of giant rabbits decapitating people, geese lynching a wolf, unicorns, and plenty like the intriguing scene pictured above, which appears to be, well, you can see for yourself. Number 4. Rohonk Codex. This is a strange book written by an unknown author in an indiscernible language. This illustrated handwritten manuscript is some way similar to the Voynich manuscript. This illustrated manuscript surfaced in the 19th century in Hungary and has puzzled people since. The book's origins and the meaning of the text and illustrations have been investigated by many scholars and amateurs, with no definitive conclusion, although many Hungarian scholars believe that it is an 18th century hoax. It is still unknown who wrote it, or what it says, as the text is written in a mysterious alphabet of nearly 200 symbols. The illustrations in the book range from military battles to religious symbolism, reminiscent of Christianity, Islam, and even possibly Hinduism. The possible origins of the manuscript have been linked to India, Sumeria, or ancient Hungary. Concerning the language of the codex, although Hungarian, Dacian, early Romanian, or Cuman, and even Hindi have been proposed, none of the hypotheses are backed with scientific proof so far. One interesting fact that is known to be true, the paper used to create the codex dates back to 16th century Italy. The number of individual alphabetic letters in the text of the codex is far more in number than those of known archaic languages of the time. It is not clear if the text is to be read right to left or left to right. Number 5. The Book of Soiga, the Book That Kills. After first being found by the Elizabethan mathematician and occultist John Dee, this 16th century book on magic was lost for centuries until discovered in 1994 by a scholar within the archives of the British Library. Nearly 200 pages of this book contain incantations and instructions for summoning demons, performing magic, astrological ideas, and other things we don't really understand. When we found it in 1551, John Dee went as far as to enlist a medium so he could have a conversation with the Archangel Uriel about what the book meant. While some of the book that's written in Latin appears to have meaning, there are over 40,000 letters arranged strangely in 36 tables that appear to be some kind of code. Considering the occult nature of the book, solving this mystery promises a revelation, which is a rumoured curse. Supposedly, if you figure out the code, you will die within 2.5 years. Perhaps we should let the computers tackle this one. Number 6. Prophecies of Nostradamus. This popular book of predictions and prophecies has been a bestseller for over 400 years, rarely going out of print since its initial publication in 1555. Collections of omens and predictions were in high demand. Nostradamus, or Michel de Notre Dame, as he was known, began his career as an apothecary and plague doctor. Perhaps it was his work in the midst of bubonic plague outbreaks that gave him his particular interest in apocalyptic visions of the future. The collected prophecies lay out, in rhyming quatrains no less, predictions of various disasters. Various urban legends and myths about him abound. Claims that he predicted everything: 9/11, both world wars, the death of Princess Di, the nuclear attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If an event made the headlines for more than a few weeks, rest assured that someone somewhere is holding a copy of Nostradamus' 400-year-old tome and claiming that he knew it would happen all along. Number 7. The Story of the Vivian Girls. The entire time Henry Darger was working as a janitor in downtown Chicago, nobody knew that he was secretly writing one of the most bizarre and intricate storybooks of all time. When he died in 1973, Darger's landlord discovered a 15,000-page manuscript entitled The Story of the Vivian Girls, in what is known as the realms of the unreal of the Glandeco-Angelinian war storm, caused by the Child Slave Rebellion. The book was immense, a sprawling epic composed of more than 9 million words and over 300 watercolor illustrations, most of which were made by juxtaposing images from magazines and newspapers and tracing over them. Some of the final illustrations were laid out on massive sheets of paper, over 3 meters, that's 10 feet, wide. Nobody really knows how long Darger worked on the book, although it's believed to have been decades. He lived in the same cramped, single-room apartment for over 40 years, and he never spoke a word of his lifelong dream to anybody. Number 8. Codex Mendoza. The history of the Codex Mendoza reads like a plot to an adventure novel. Following the long and bloody conquest of the Aztec Empire, the Spaniards claimed the region of Mexico as property of the Spanish king, and they instated Antonio de Mendoza as the new empire's first viceroy. One of the Mendoza's acts as a ruler was to commission a history of the Aztec people, which he sent via ship back to Spain. On the way, French pirates seized the Spanish ship, killed everyone on board, and plundered its storage hold. Lost in the mix, the Codex Mendoza was carried to France, where it was found by one of the king's advisors in 1553. For the next 100 years, the Mendoza floated around Europe, surfacing here and there before its final plunge into obscurity. It wasn't until 1831 when the document was found in a storage room at the Bodleian Library. Intricately detailed, the Codex Mendoza is broken into 3 sections. The first one gives the lineage of the Aztec kings, the second one lists all the Mexican towns that paid taxes to the Aztec Empire, and the third is a description of everyday Aztec life. The images were hand-painted by Aztec slaves and under command of the Spanish Empire. Brought together, the Mendoza gives us the single largest glimpse into the Aztec Empire, which is especially important since the Spanish burned nearly everything else the Aztecs had. Number 9. The Mystery Book of Harris Burdick. The Mysteries of Harris Burdick is a 1984 picture book by the American author Chris Van Allsburg, consisting of a series of images which were from Harris Burdick, a man who mysteriously disappeared. Each image is accompanied by a title and a single line of text, which compels readers to create their own stories. Many famous writers have tried to put their own little twists on the pictures. The book is available in a portfolio edition, which includes another image pair from the story, Missing in Venice. In 2011, a new book titled The Chronicles of Harris Burdick was published, featuring stories by high-profile writers like Stephen King and Louis C.K. Inspired by the illustrations in the original The Mysteries of Harris Burdick book, an encounter between a children's book editor named Peter Wenders and an author and illustrator named Harris Burdick, who says he has 14 stories that he has written. He has brought one picture from each story with a caption. He leaves with a promise to deliver the complete manuscripts if the editor chooses to buy the books. The next day, Burdick didn't show up. Burdick never returned to Wenders' office. Wenders tried to find out who Harris Burdick was, but he never found out. Burdick was never seen again, and the samples are all that remain of his supposed books. Readers are challenged to imagine their own stories on the images for the books. Number 10. Dancing Lessons for the Advanced in Age. Dancing Lessons for the Advanced in Age is a Czech novel written in 1964 by Bohumil Hrabal. It's a story about an old man who walks up to 6 women sunbathing in the middle of the city and just starts talking about things that have happened to him in his life. It sounds like an average setting for any normal literary work, except for one thing. The entire book is only 1 sentence long. Hrabal's book is 128 pages long, making it just a little shorter than The Great Gatsby. Hrabal was known for using lengthy sentences in his novels, a style which helped him combine a sense of both sadness and comedy in a single event. He's considered one of the greatest Czech authors in history. Thanks for watching, remember to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.